Good housekeeping is also important to the safe operation of electric tools and equipment. Excess grease and debris should be cleaned up so that motors don't overheat. And remember, don't use conductive materials like liquids, steel wool, or even metal hand tools near energized parts unless you take the proper precautions. Guarding against shocks often means using safety equipment like insulated gloves and hard hats. Ask your supervisor about the equipment that's right for the job you're doing. Some work environments have their own special hazards. In these situations, extra caution is required. Water and electricity are a dangerous combination. Water conducts electricity. Its presence can leave you vulnerable to a shock. Never plug in cords that are wet, and don't touch electrical equipment if your hands are wet. If you encounter water, try to remove it before you begin work. And remember to use safety devices such as double insulated tools and ground fault interrupters. They're especially important in these situations. With little room to maneuver, confined spaces can be cramped and dangerous, especially where live wires and electrical equipment are present. If you're working in a confined or enclosed space, you need to take special precautions. To avoid accidental contact with energized lines, you should insulate electrical materials and use protective shields and barriers. Keep hinged panels and doors secure so that they don't release and knock you into an energized line. Working close to high voltage power lines can be extremely dangerous. If you're working around these lines, it's important to remain at a safe distance. In many cases, the lines will be de-energized for added protection. Don't use metal ladders when working near power lines, electrical wiring, or energized machine parts, no matter what the voltage. The metal will conduct stray electricity straight to your body and could give you a nasty shock. Instead, use a fiberglass or wooden ladder with non-conductive side rails. Remember, only qualified workers taking the proper precautions may actually work on high voltage lines. If you're not qualified, you and any conductive object that you're holding cannot come within 10 feet of a power line carrying 50,000 volts. For higher voltage lines, you must stay even further away. These clearance distances also apply to vehicles and other equipment that come near overhead lines. If you have any questions, ask your supervisor. In areas where flammable materials exist, it is especially important that you choose your equipment carefully. Avoid using tools and machinery with motors that spark. These could create dangerous sources of ignition. If there has been a leak of a flammable gas or vapor, do not turn equipment on or off. This might create an electrical arc, which could result in a fire or explosion. Wait until the atmosphere is clear of flammable vapors before using any electrical equipment. Electricity is a powerful asset, but only when we use it safely. We need to follow safe work practices. Use the protective equipment that's right for the job. Inspect tools for cracked cords and other defects. And report any unsafe conditions. Remember not to attempt repairs unless you're qualified to make them. By now, none of this should come as a shock. You can avoid accidents by taking the necessary precautions, participating in training sessions, and of course, remembering to work with electricity safely.